All right, everybody, welcome to the Studying Brew, episode 1256.
56.
56. On this Tuesday evening, it is the eve of the United States going to the World Cup on Wednesday. I know everybody's so excited about that, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for studying. We're here for the securities licensing. We're here for you to pass the SIE, the 663, 2665, and Series 7. We are here to help you get that edge. We're here to give you a little bit of a taste of what we do in the Studying Brew on the KonaButterflyz program. My name is Andy. I am the guy that runs the back office over here at KonaButterflyz, but you're not here for me. You're here for Brandy. She's got her Series 6, 63, 26, 65, and her Series 7, which makes her more than qualified to teach you all those things. And tonight, what are we doing tonight, Brandy? Awesome. Techniques. We're going to do test taking techniques tonight. We are going to find the answer to questions without actually knowing the content. We are going to make this happen because, guys, look, there's a lot of people who like to take these techniques. They like to just watch the Studying Brew. They just like to fast forward to where we do the quizzes. And then they just like to think that that's all you got to do. And then you go do that and you don't have to study. And you're going to get everything right, just like Brandy does. In a minute 12, you can do 6 questions. Is that true, Brandy?
No.
No, it's not true. You got to know some content. You got to know the process. There's a little bit of a, there's a lot of, there's a little bit of a learning curve to this, right?
There is.
And then like Thursday, Brandy literally went through questions like super quick.
It was a minute 24.
And people are like, oh, just flabbergasted, right?
Yeah.
Clutch their pearls. Right. And they're like, do I have to do that? And it's like, no, you don't. You don't have to do that.
No.
What you got to do is you got to just be able to have this shortcut. You got to have that in your arsenal, if you will. You be able to go to that because there is going to be questions that you're not going to get on the exam. It doesn't matter if you're studying our stuff, anybody's stuff. There's going to be a point in any of these exams where you are completely stuck. And the last thing you want to do is take up more time than you need to because you will feel that at the end of the exam. Either you won't have enough time, or you'll be rushed, or you'll make silly mistakes because you're worried about the time. But I will say this: when you have that those techniques and that study, those kinds of things, that strategies that we're trying to teach you guys, it helps you get through the exam. One of the things and one of the misnomers, what do I want to say, that people have about this exam is that I mean, we've heard some doozies over the years, like you skip the first 30 on question 31, you start answering because it doesn't know your algorithm, and then the exam adapts, and then you don't have any hard ones. The rest of it's easy, and then you go back and then do the first 30, and then you outsmart the exam. The exam work that way, Brandy?
No.
No.
It's fixed.
It doesn't work like that at all. It does no. It's There's no AI on this exam. It's not learning who you are and learning that you don't know option questions and give you 20 option questions. Other myth that we hear all the time is I saw 15 option questions on my SIE exam. Or I feel like the whole exam was all options. Or I feel like the whole exam was math. I feel like the whole exam was everything I didn't study. Is that true, Brandy?
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. It doesn't know what you didn't study.
You're giving the government way too much credit. You guys need to think about this. This is set up by the government. This is set up by a government agency. How much what do I want to say?
How much time do you think they got?
No, how much money do you think
Oh,
you've invested in this as a taxpayer? How much do you think that they put into this? Like this is not an exam where they're like put millions and billions of dollars into learning people's exam
habits.
habits while they're taking the exam with real live AI fixing the exam as you're taking it. It's not happening. It's the same people that come up with the people who work at DMV. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
No offense to anybody who works at
What
DMV.
they do though, what is true is um they do go through Q banks from different study preps. They do that. So if you're one of those people who loves, or you hear somebody like, all you do is you go study the questions and answers, you go through the entire Q bank of whatever exam prep you're using, and you just memorize it. You do it a million times, or you take, oh, my favorite thing that is this is just wrong. Go take the FINRA practice exam and get that until you pass, and then you'll pass the real exam. That's also false. Or go take, the mastery. I mean, there's like so many different things that people say go take and master these quiz questions and then go take it. All false. All of it's false. Because what they do is they have people on staff who go through those Q bank questions and they make sure that then like none of those questions are on the exam. Once in a while, there's one that squeaks through that is on the exam exactly like it was written on the Q in the Q banks. Very rare. Like you maybe get one question out of like whatever many that you're taking.
Of all of the exams that I've taken, I only remember seeing one from my study prep.
And that's when she passes Series 6, 63, 26, 65, and Series 7.
Yes.
And that is literally taking quiz all the time. Guys, one. Luckily, lucky if you see one. Luck. So memorization. We had a guy who literally has a photographic memory. We've actually had a few. Photographic memory, can remember every single question, every single Q bank he's ever taken, memorize question to answer, and not just the answer, but all the options that he had. So he memorized A, B, C, and D, all the different answers for every single question, 3,500 questions in total. He memorized every single one of them. He did not pass the exam. In fact, he struggled with the exam because he did that. It set him backwards.
And he did it subconsciously. He
It,
didn't even know that that's what.
it's just the way his memory worked. We had to really work hard at breaking him down. I hate to say it like that, but we had to break down his superpower and focus it on something else so that
Right.
and redirect that energy into the right energy so that way he could pass it. But seriously, guys, it doesn't work that way. Finra knows that there's people out there like him that could do that. They definitely don't do that. That's why a lot of these exams are random. So if you take your first exam, the second exam looks nothing like the first exam. The third exam will look nothing like the second exam. It's like a randomizer. You don't know what you're going to get, and they're going to be different.
Box of chocolates.
You're not going to get the same exact questions every single time.
That was a solid reference. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Go. No, it is good. Uh, but you got it. That's why it's important that you learn like techniques like this, or you learn the strategies we teach in our program, or like in our boot camps, where we show you, look, you're going to take this information here, this content, this raw material, and then you use it this way. You sculpt it. You use what you need to hear, and look at how to get to that answer based on this basic knowledge of the content. Because guys, the questions, the way it's asked, everything it's unpredictable on exactly how they'll ask you, and that's why everything is scenario based. Everything is a scenario based type question. Everything is like almost like a story, and then you got to pick it out, right? That's what I mean by that, right? So it's not exactly like, hey, what best describes an option, right? It doesn't give you like a way to do that, and you get to list all the characteristics just like you memorized, just like you read over and over again. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be something crazy like Brandy, Bob, and Bob were investors, and Bob likes the margins. I don't know. They make up some baloney, right? At the end, there's the actual question, right? It's like four sentences of nonsense. The last sentence is some sort of question about options, right, Brandy?
Yeah. So what color is the sky? Huh?
Exactly. And it just throws you off. That's why we teach the things we teach. That's why we have the boot camps. That's why we have all this stuff that we have. That's why in our 21-day program, that's the way it's built that way, guys. So you can have the study time when you need to have it, but also you get to learn how to apply it, how to learn it, right? How to use that knowledge. Our daughter right now is at a medical camp at the University of Georgetown University, and she's doing this whole internship medical. She's like in high school, and like she's excited because she did like 5 hours of straight notes and lecture, and then they took her to the hospital, and then she was literally holding human brains and working on cadavers and stuff like that. And she was like, I think it's gross, but she's like, no, it's awesome because you get the knowledge and then you get to apply it. That's what we try to do through our program. That's what we do with our boot camp, guys. So that way you get that knowledge and then you see how it's applied. And then Brandy shows you the hard work you got to do on your own and getting that done. So it's not just simple tricks and flash that we do on the studying brew. That's just to show you that you can have that in there, but there is a lot of other things you got to do, or you need to do, and the hard work and learning you and where your blocks are. And Brandy helps break through that, like today's Kona way video that's going to drop tomorrow morning. Guys, it is a way for you to learn how you are, get through the system on the program, and how to get through all these exams. Because once you learn how to do this, you don't lose it. You learn a great skill set that's going to help you through your professional career, because you're not just going to pass one exam your whole life. It's not one time you guys are done with this. You guys are going to have continuing ed. There might be new certificates. There might be new licenses down the road that we don't even know or see yet. So it's fair to say that you need to master how to do this and not be intimidated, especially if you have anxiety problems, especially if you have some baggage going into these things because you sucked in school and now you think that as an adult, what you did as a child carries over to an adult and you still hold on to that. Guys, I know it's real. I'm not making light of it, but there is a way around it. You're a different person at this point, and you gotta need to get some new skill sets, and you can work around this and get what you need to get. So if you're not onto us yet, get onto it. Scan the QR code, hit the links, and guys, for members that are thinking about signing up, have never been a member, I have a discount dropping on Patreon. So if you're a free member and you've been thinking about joining, we're gonna have a discount dropping tomorrow. So pay attention on the Patreon. You will see that. All right. We have the program. We have study. We have small group tutoring. We have one-on-one tutoring. We got books for sale. SIE 663 2665. We got Kona community on the Discord. Ask questions, get questions answered. Contact me at 951 290 3077 or KonaButterflyz@gmail.com. Yeah, scan the QR code. Even the boot camp's up in that QR code, so you can get it in there, register, and pay for that. It is our summer deal, right? July. And if you can't make that boot camp, guess what? It's awesome. I'll tell you in a minute. There we go, Brandy. If you can't make this boot camp, literally for half the price, you could get all the videos, content, and everything. You just don't get the book, but you get all of that, right? And if you want the book and you're like, dang, I want the book though, same price, you get the book and you get tutoring plus all the course videos and content, all you need, and plus the techniques and strategies that has helped lots of people pass before we even started doing boot camp. So either way, it's a win-win, same price or half the price, or just join in on that boot camp if you have a hard time getting through that content or you like that interaction, you like to have your 2 cents in there, you like to learn this stuff with Brandy. Boom. Get in on that. It'll be July 19th through the 22nd. I don't even know how Brandy made this work, but she made it work. This is going to be our summer boot camp for the SIE. We may have stuff in August. We will see. Or we may not. I don't know.
Hoping.
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 All right. Ready?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
6 questions. Test taking techniques. Answers first. Questions last. Go for it, Brandy.
So, everything that you said in the beginning is very true, very accurate. During a small group today, somebody mentioned that they're having a hard time not defaulting to the traditional way of answering questions. You read the question, you read all the answers. You know, Brandy, sometimes I still answer the question with knowledge, right? We have the saying, right? In our membership, we have the saying that says, click it if you know it. And then our strategy is called OMS if you don't. And I said, even if you know, and this is what I want you guys to practice after you guys watch what we're going to do today, even if you know the answer, take a moment in your quiz and say, can I get to this answer if I didn't know the answer?
Work the question.
Work the question and the words on the screen, because look, sometimes we're under that pressure. Sometimes this is the third attempt. Sometimes we don't want to do the 6-month wait. Sometimes you don't understand all this pressure that I've got from other people saying I need to get this today. All of these things, right, that we carry into the test center. If you practice these things that we're showing you in quizzes, even if you know the answer, when you're on the exam, you can use them better to boost that score. If you guys are cruising in the 60% on your last attempt, these could potentially get you over that hump, get you into that passing zone. All right? Good? Good. So when I look at these questions, the first thing I ask myself is, can I answer this question if I don't know any content?
Yeah, work it.
Work it.
Work it 2 ways. Because like I said in the beginning, these questions are not going to be like this on the exam. They're not
No,
even going to be worded this way.
no, they're not.
So by working the question two ways or looking at one that even you answered easily, you're really starting to develop looking at these questions in a different way and multiple different angles because these questions aren't going to be like this on the exam. And some of you who have had attempts, you realize that especially if you're using like a Q bank like Kaplan, they don't even resemble how they say it on the exam. They're not even cousins.
Nah, that's cool. Neighbors at best.
Neighbors at best
All right, let's go.
that occasionally share sugar.
What was the? Never mind. A year, a quarter, 36 months, other year. First of all, what's the other year?
Other year.
Other year.
Not this year, it was the other year.
Exactly. So this is the only one that has a number, digits, and it was the answer. And there's your question. So you guys can see.
See, now Brandy got it right with the technique. She didn't look at the question. She got it right, right? If she was doing this on her own, she would have read the question and then she would have seen the other way to get it right.
Exactly. I would have broke down my answers, said what do these connect to, go to the question, make a match. But I didn't need to. Not tonight.
We ain't doing that tonight.
Because this is see if I can get to the answer without knowing.
If you want that kind of action, show up to the live session, small group tutoring, and or the boot camp.
Exactly. So I have debentures, mortgage bonds, subordinated debt, adjustment bonds. Well, that's a bond and that's a bond. Most of the time, if you guys see two answers that are similar like this would be similar, not opposite, but similar. Most of the time, one of these is going to be the answer. So I'm going to go into the question and I'm going to say, all right, is the question talking about something that's going to do with real estate, mortgage, something to that effect, or something about adjusting?
Right.
So I went into the question and the question said, a company reorganizing. That doesn't sound like mortgage. It sounds like adjusting.
Think about it. If it doesn't sound like mortgage, and even though you don't know why that would be adjusting, pick it.
Exactly. Because reorganizing sounds more like I'm adjusting than I am mortgaging.
You can adjust the books on your shelf and then be like reorganizing it.
Exactly. What are you doing? I am reorganizing. Yeah.
Opposite of debentures would be unsecured.
That is true. That is true. Current yield, yield to maturity, yield to call, coupon rate, or the nominal yield. Every single one of those answer choices say the word or. I mean, yield. Only one has or. Now, I don't typically rely on or.
You don't usually lean on it.
No, but I am going to say that this one is different because they have two things in it. So it's not
it's not the or, it's the two choices.
Exactly. Exactly. It's the two different ways of saying something.
So in the question, if it alludes to two,
maybe
it might be it.
Right. So the question says a corporate bond has a stated yield at the time of issuance. It's also known as, well, if it's stated, it's not current. If it's stated, it's not maturity. If it's stated, it's not call. If it's stated,
it's going to be a rate.
It's going to be a rate or nominal.
The way I look at that is like all your rates are stated. Like when you have credit cards, right? The rate is already stated. You already know what it is. It's not a mystery, is it? When you fill out that application for a credit card, the rate, you know it. Some of us think twice about getting that item on our credit card because we're like, nah, man, by the time I pay this off, it'd be like 4 times that.
Right. Or a car loan, you know what your
car loan
is. Mm-hmm. See, just like that. So I have series, balloon, serial, term. Now, normally I'm going to go series and serial.
Yeah, for sure.
Sound similar, right?
Yeah.
But
balloon and term are almost opposite.
Okay, look, I'm going to be real with you guys. When I answered this particular question, I didn't look for the technique. I just looked at the word.
Oh.
And I just said, no, no, no. So the whole issue is maturing at once. That's a term. Does that make sense? Like,
See, if I would have used my technique, I would have said balloon and term are opposites.
okay, so we go that with opposite.
And then I would have been left with the two.
Now somebody said there's no such thing as cereal.
What about
I
Cheerios?
think it's series. I think the series is the one that's not the right answer. See, not on the test. This question has been floating around since 2018.
Yeah. If it has the whole issue matures, then that means it's not a balloon.
It's just like term life insurance. Most of you who are studying for your SIE has your life insurance license. It's exactly the same. I like to call them zero coupon. I mean, what are they called? What was the ones that was like zero, no interest, pay it off before that? Anyways, sorry, I digress. No risk at all.
I'm like, that's on you, boo.
No risk at all. Interest rate risk, high volatility in all cases, or guaranteed returns. Before we get into the all cases and the guaranteed, I see no risk and then I see risk. Fair enough.
Yep.
If and let me just say, in an official capacity, if we're talking a professional licensing exam, it is not going to be said no risk at all.
Never.
That's a very informal.
That's a very false statement.
Well, and it's just informal.
Yeah.
No risk at all. Who says it that way formally?
You're right. Not unless it's like a My Pillow commercial.
Right. There you go. You would say no risk, but no risk at all.
Or any infomercial, I should say.
But it says, what is the primary risk? And I just went with risk. Okay, should I say something? I'm going to say something here. In its very basic form, all of you are studying for securities, and I know we said no content necessary tonight. If you are a security, it has risk. That is literally what you're studying. That's why you have to be licensed.
To say there's no risk is misrepresentation of what
Exactly.
securities is.
Exactly.
There's different levels of risk.
But if there's no risk, it's not an investment.
There's ways to manage risk.
There's
always risk.
Exactly. So in its very least, A can't be the answer. All right. GNP, GDP, CPI, and fun. Okay, look. These get often confused, but GDP and GNP very similar, right? Very similar because of very similar letters. And then I said, okay, how am I going to go with this? How am I going to run with this one? And I said, okay, look, here's an N in fun, and here's an N in GNP. And I'm like, okay, fun is not a thing. I mean, okay, it is a thing, but not a thing.
Not in securities.
Not something, not a thing we're studying. In fact, some of us are having too much fun. That's why we're not studying. Wow, that sounded like a parent.
Fun is when you're done with this.
Yeah. So if I'm going based on this is my answer.
All day, every day.
Two N's. The A and
This is a very technique way to go about it without even looking at the question, is what you're saying.
This is me.
A and D have one thing in common, which is the N.
This is me having fun.
Yep.
It is the answer. And then that's your question. You guys want to know the difference between GNP and GDP? It's the economic
National is
indicator that
global.
reflects activity in U.S. entities without regard to where the activity is taking place.
I always think of GNP as global. GDP is not.
GDP is at home.
At home.
No matter who owns it. GNP is U.S. owned all over the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Like Apple.
Yeah. But anyways.
But we're not.
No.
Suggesting that you buy Apple stock.
No. We're not suggesting anything. We're
not making a recommendation.
Oh, we're just talking about the product. And even then, I'm not recommending you go out and buy Apple. Why did we even mention a real company?
I don't know. I can't help myself. Pear.
Yes. Pears.
I don't know.
Actually, that was an iCarly.
Banana. I don't know.
That was their technology.
It's called pear.
It was a pear.
That's hilarious. All right, everybody. I don't know why Brandy knows iCarly references. We'll figure that out later. But I just want to say thank you all for being here. It is great. Remember, do the work. Do the work. And like Brandy said, you got a great tip for tonight. If you know the answer to the question, whether however you got to it, work it a different way. Work it twice. You got a layup. You knew it. You guessed right. Work it another way. How did I get that right? How can I get that right two different ways? Because that question is not going to be on the exam like that. Stop thinking these questions are on the exam. Stop mastering these exam questions. Stop listening to false information. Guys, get yourself some techniques, get yourself some strategies, and then you just work it.
Work.
You work it. You work the questions. You work
The words.
the words. You work the techniques. You work the strategies. You work the program. And then when you go and take your exam, it doesn't matter what they throw at you, you'll get it. The way I look at it is like when people learn martial arts, like usually karate, there's an instructor is like, okay, they're going to punch you in the face. Now block like this. Have you ever been in a fight? No one tells you which punch is coming. You got to be ready for it. You got to be able to respond. Because if you're looking for that response, if you're looking for that instruction, it's not going to be there. So be loose with it. Figure out two different ways to get to that quiz. That's a great way to do it. You guys go do that right now. We'll be back Thursday for the Study and Brew again for the free. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, everybody stay safe out there. Wash your hands. Don't touch your face. Don't touch your friend's face. That's all I know. And keep the positive mental attitude. PMA. Everybody have a good night.
Thank you guys so much for being on. We
Aw.
so super appreciate you guys. Practice these techniques in your quizzes. Say happy late birthday to Andy. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, everybody.